Probably the most noteworthy thing about the trip and New York in general is just how different it is when you compare it to Danville. Obviously, it's a much larger town, but not only that, there are much different needs in New York than there are here in Danville.
I really liked how Jesus sort of had very long stretching arms, because my expectations going there was that there's going to be a lot less Jesus followers, and I liked how I saw a lot of people from different backgrounds worshiping God.
Definitely making the relationships with the kids throughout the week at VBS and seeing them, towards the end of the week, crying because they don't want to leave, rather than crying because their parents are leaving them there.
How we got to kind of help the kids and show them love and affection.
All the children that came to the VBS and how hyperactive they were to learn about Jesus.
Danny and Melissa's attitude. They always had a good attitude and a smile on their face. And then also Ashley and Wes, the missionaries that came from Alabama. They lived in Alabama all their life, and they left their families to come to New York and serve the Lord.
The way people had to live, especially the neighborhood we were in where we stayed, and what they had to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Experiencing Bushwick, Brooklyn, seeing that there really is a lack for the gospel in that community, and that us being there was really a good experience in helping them out.
Well, the interesting thing about New York is there's no ease of transportation there. So in order to get anywhere, it takes a real concerted amount of effort. We were about 1.5 miles from where we stayed to where we served. The other team had to do the metro about 4 stops to where they served. We had children that were walking 40 minutes one way just to attend Vacation Bible School. And it made us really convicted about how easy we have it to get to church, but how often we make excuses not to go when they're giving so much effort to be there.
It was how much effort Melissa and Danny had to put into having church every Sunday morning, and all the little things they had to go through just to set up church.
I'll forever remember the 2 little girls that I watched over at our VBS. I remember the church service that Danny led with us, because that was a crazy new experience for me. I loved it. It was amazing.
How much work needed to be done in the community?
Seeing the kids that we had in VBS grow closer to us as we had them through the program, and it was really sad when we had to leave that day.
Whenever we would get to VBS, the kids would be kind of shy and not really sure about what they were getting themselves into, but then after we were done, none of them really wanted to leave, and that was really a really cool thing to see.
If you don't know who Julia Callahan is, the best way to get to know her is to play a game with her. I guarantee you she's the most competitive human being you're going to meet. And the funniest thing that to me happened on the trip was the girls were playing a card game together, and Julia lost. And her reaction to losing that many times in a row was priceless, because she actually competes with the older kids pretty well. It's hard to explain, but you would have thought the world was ending.
Our tour guide, when we walked across the road, and cars were coming and stuff, we said, "Hey, I'm walking here!" And it was very funny.
We went to eat at a little pizza joint called Tony's Pizza, and originally we were going to order 12 pizzas. They told us it would be too many, so we ordered 9 instead. We get there, and we end up eating all those pizzas, and the owner of the place is bringing up pizzas every time. We finish one, and he's just like, "Oh, where's it going?" We kind of surprised him a little bit how fast we could finish those pizzas.
When we got on the subway and we got on the wrong one and started going in the wrong direction.
The first time we saw a rat in the subway, and it was as big as a squirrel. And we were on the subway, and all the older boys started singing songs.
We saw a rat carrying a bagel in the subway.
Probably the crazy games that we played with the other church group from California that was there.
When we were on the subway, we had a really long subway ride. It was elbow to elbow, sardine packed. It was Gabe's worst nightmare, who doesn't like to be touched. And so we had Gabe, who was already bug-eyed over the fact that he had all these human bodies surrounding him. And then the rest of our group decided to break out into 99 bottles of milk on the wall and continued counting down from 99. Now, the New Yorkers, some of them found us amusing. They recorded us. Some of us were really annoyed. Some of them got off early to walk. But we thought it was pretty funny.
Every time we'd take off or land during the plane, Jalen would always start to freak out. She'd start to panic, and she'd grab one of her magazines, and she'd start fanning herself, and she'd be like, oh my gosh, I need to breathe. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes now.
I would say the mission trip did not fit my expectations, but that is not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's more impactful that it didn't than that it did, if it would have. Just because New York really didn't, there wasn't a huge need, at least from us, for manual labor. There were other groups there that were serving in a manual capacity, but we were the only group that was there at that time that was serving in a vocational capacity. And in the community of Bushwick where we were serving, that was something that was desperately needed. So while it didn't fit my expectations, it definitely, I would say, exceeded my expectations.
I thought the people were going to be a lot more different than they were, but they were a lot more like you and me than I would have expected.
Well, it exceeded my expectations as far as what we got to do and the people we got to meet and just how the Lord worked in my heart and just seeing Him work in other people's lives.
It was different. New York really blew my mind, and just the community, I didn't expect it to be like that.
It's often the smallest things that make the biggest difference, and it's just being willing to engage with the kids at Bible school, play with them, tell them about Jesus, and even though that seems like a really small act to us in the moment, you could tell it was a really big deal to them.
I expected the community to not be as challenging. You'd see that the gospel just wasn't there.
I was really going in there expecting like this pretty like happy town, you know, because when you think of New York, you think of like these great things, but then, you know, we got there and you see like what people are actually living with.
The Williamsburg group on one of their days had a child who had walked like 7 or 8 miles and wasn't even going to the VBS. He actually just happened to be passing by. And Luke Callahan was out in the street with a sign and was waving around. He stopped and they talked about it. And he actually stayed the entire day, and it was his birthday. So we got to celebrate his birthday and share the gospel with him. And
our last day of VBS, which was Thursday, we had been there throughout the entire week, and we'd been with the kids that entire week up until then, and they were used to us, and they were singing the songs, doing all the hand movements. So that'd probably be where I saw Jesus the most.
When we, of course, helped with kids, and when we were walking throughout the blocks in New York, people would ask us, what church are we from?
I saw Jesus the most when all the kids at the VBS started playing together, having fun, interacting with other people.
At the 9/11 Museum. The kids were singing the worship songs and worshiping Jesus during VBS.
Well, just in how He worked out each detail. When you just do what you're supposed to do, the task that's in front of you at that moment, how He can use that in somebody's life.
Probably through Danny and his family. Day in, day out, they're trying to share the gospel, and it's so tough in New York, and they never quit. And it was a good resemblance of how strong his faith is and how strong our faith needs to be.
When we were outside advertising the VBSs to all the little ones and all the older adults, along with the little kids from our church, helping us advertise it. Just seeing all those smiles in a big city really showed me that we made a big impact.
Definitely during the VBSs and trying to get kids into the church when we had people outside on the streets holding up the signs and everything. That's definitely when I saw Jesus the most, because that's when we interacted with people the most and talking about them to Jesus, and we were able to spread the word and share the gospel with them.
One of their biggest needs is they just need someone to talk to them about it, because they're pretty receptive once they've heard it or feel comfortable with the person. But the big problem is there's so many people that are against opening up, and there's so few people that are actually trying to, that it seems the message doesn't get spread a whole lot.
Seeing everybody come together, because that's not what I expected at all.
You can't really imagine something very good until you actually see it, though. So when we actually got there, it really struck me that, this neighborhood really does need help.
Yes, their pizza, because it was so big and huge and it was hard to eat unless you ate it New York style and folded it.
And our tour guide was really funny.
After the first few days, you didn't feel scared or nervous anymore. You kind of felt at peace in the neighborhood that we were in.
The people, the people in New York are kind of going 90-0.
How everybody doesn't just say hi to everybody, and they're just busy people. We said hi to every single person we could. We try to make everybody laugh. We really represented our church.
There weren't a lot of people at Swerve Church, but even though there weren't a lot of people, you could tell there was so much energy there.
Something surprising was the rent that people have to pay. It was crazy, just the space they have to live in for the amount of money.
Definitely, I would go back. I'm not sure what I would do, because New York has an endless amount of needs and a very limited amount of people to do them.
Yeah, I'd probably go back. I'd probably eat more food, try different things, try different foods than what we did.
Yeah, I would go back. I would. Swerve Church actually has interns from all around the country come in and help them. So if I would go back, that would be definitely something that I'd be interested in.
I would go back because I want to see more people and tell more people about Jesus throughout the week.
I would help Swerve Church again and help them bring more kids to their service.
Yes, I would go back, and I would just do anything that Danny and the Swerve Church needed us to do to help win people for the Lord.
I would want us to help the Living Waters get their place put back to shape. They have such a giving heart, Ron and Anna, and then letting all these different groups of people come and stay, and I just thought, goodness, they've just opened up their home essentially to people, and they've been there for 30 years, and it would be nice for someone to help them out.
100% I would go back. I want to help out the community of Bushwick. I want to help Danny's church again, work with Swerve Church. And as big as the city of New York is, it's in real need of the gospel, and I'd love to do that.
I would go back. Much work was needed, and it's still needed.
I would go back, and if I were to go back, I would go back with people that we worked with. They offered us a opportunity to come back next summer and spend the whole summer with them, and they would provide us dorms and all the stuff like that, and spread the gospel.
I would definitely go back, just try to get more kids to come to the VBS, because you could see that it really impacted them.
Yes, I would always encourage someone to go on a mission trip.
Yeah, I'd recommend someone.
Yeah, definitely. I'd recommend anyone to go on a mission trip.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
I would recommend everybody go on a mission trip at least once in their life.
Yes.
I would recommend it.
I would definitely recommend somebody to go on a mission trip.
This was my third mission trip, and I would recommend, if everyone's able to, health-wise, they should attend a mission trip. It's just an experience you're never going to get in any other way.
Jesus sacrificed himself, and one of the greatest indicators of love for anyone or anything is sacrifice. And when you go on a mission trip, especially one like the New York one, you sacrifice, in my opinion, one of the most limited but greatest commodities, that being time. Another thing is that you're exposed to a different culture. A lot of us are used to just the way things are in Danville, and it's very easy to get caught in a loop or in the mindset that that's all there is. And when you go to New York, you are exposed to not just a new culture, but several new cultures all at the same time.
I think you really connect with where you go and all the people you go with.
It definitely opens the eyes to, situations are different with everyone, We don't always have it like we do here. So.
To see how it was and how amazing it could be in a place where people don't know much about Jesus and need to tell more people about him.
It would benefit them because if it was one of my friends that didn't know Jesus, and if they came, they would learn more about Jesus like the other kids would too.
Every mission trip I've been on has impacted me in different ways and changed my life. You definitely do not come back the same person as you did when you left.
Because I think it helps, even just coming back home and being mission-minded for just our own little community. It helped me appreciate where we live and the people we're surrounded with, and how we can just impact our own community on a day-to-day basis, just living, well, obviously how Jesus wants us to live, but to wake up each day trying to make a difference in someone's life. Because I feel like when you're on mission, that's your task in front of you, so you're focused on that, and that kind of realigns you. Well, that's probably how you should be focused at home as well, and how can we impact our community in a positive way instead of complaining about how the things are wrong. Well, let's do things to change it and make it great.
My faith grew going on a mission trip, and anyone who's looking to grow in their faith and really see some miraculous things through Jesus needs to go on a mission trip.
It was, everyone I've been on has been beneficial. It just brings you closer to the people you're with. You're closer as a group with people in your church and relationships there, and you just see God move in ways that you sometimes don't see right here at home, because you're looking for new experiences, and it's just an awesome way to serve. And if you ever get the chance, probably, which I hope I don't, to lead a mission trip like Daniel did, I'm sure that's an experience you'll never forget. And he did a wonderful job maneuvering 27 people around New York and getting us to where we were supposed to be, and I was just very thankful for Daniel and his leadership.
To see how these different areas compare to your hometown, to see what you need to change in your hometown, to see how you can impact everybody closer to you and everybody out there, that they need to see a different perspective too.
You don't only go to just make connections with other people, you help a community that really needs help. And it's just changing.
Because it's just a different experience with the gospel. Honestly, you just have to experience it for yourself. And it's just an awesome way to see how God works.
There was a lot of pressure that this mission trip went well and that we fulfilled God's calling. And when I heard that we are going to be doing a summer camp, it's not good of me to think this, but I was nervous, because there's not a whole lot of manual labor and not a whole lot of there's no instant reflection of the work that you've done. And so I was nervous, but I will tell you this, for those of you who did help, and y'all helped so much, that helped give us the money to do this. There are now 23 to 25 children who very likely had never been exposed to the gospel, but now are. And at the beginning of the week, there were about 25 of them who didn't seem interested in all, and by the end of the week, everyone was participating and all seemed interested in it. So we may not see the results of this mission trip in the next week or month or year, or several years for that matter, but it planted the seed for many of these kids as to who Jesus is and that he loves them, and potentially this mission trip can be the reason they enter the kingdom of heaven someday. So thank you. It was worth it. And I would highly encourage that we do it again.
Thank y'all. You're all awesome. I'm really proud to be a part of a cool church community like this, that y'all can come together, make something like that happen.
It makes me very, very grateful for allowing us to do this, and I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you for everyone who gave. Thanks for the church for giving, and yeah, just thank you.
It makes me feel great because we changed a lot of children's lives and we turned them around from death to life.
Well, it overwhelms me that we have such a giving church that just warms my heart and shows you the deep commitment we have from people to see people come to know Jesus and what they're willing to do and what they're willing to give to make that happen. There were, I'm sure, lots of sacrifices made for people to give what they gave, and I just really appreciate it and know that one day you'll know exactly what that money did in other people's lives. We'll get to see and meet those people in heaven, and the ripple effect of your prayers and your gifts, how that affected generations to come. So I thank you so much, especially for my children to get to go. That just meant the world to me, and them getting to experience that, it just means the world, and it was just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
I'm so thankful to be from Danville First Baptist Church and a part of this youth group. Daniel led a great mission trip, and we're so thankful for the church to help fund us. Great memories and great experience, and we really made an impact in Bushwick, Brooklyn.
It makes me feel very, very blessed that we have such a loving and giving church, that they made this trip happen for us, that they allowed us to go outside of our circle, experience new things, and impact different people. And I just really want to say thank you for that.
It makes me feel very grateful. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to go on this mission trip.
We just thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to go, and it makes me feel great, man. Just to get this opportunity, and our church is so giving, there's just not enough. So just thank you guys, and we appreciate it a lot.
It makes me feel really grateful and blessed for the church I have, and it makes me just want to say a big thank you.
I'm very grateful and appreciative. I'm very thankful for the opportunity, not only for myself, but for everyone that got to go. It was a lot of people's first time on a mission trip, and I'm thankful for the lives that were changed. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the financial help and also all the prayers, because they were definitely felt during the trip. Thank you, and I love you all.